Hi, and welcome back to the Tom Morgan Drum Studio. Today we're going to continue on through our book, A Sequential Approach to Fundamental Snare Drum. And right now we're going to be on page 8. And in our last episode, we really went over the quarter note, and there were 3 exercises there on that page to practice. And hopefully you've been able to do that and count out loud. And so now on this page, we're given a duet. And obviously a duet is when 2 people play. So you can see on the page 8 there that there are 2 lines on the staff, line 1 and 2. And so each line is for one of the players, obviously. So I'm going to play line 2, and I'm going to let you play line 1. So you can play right along with me on the video. You can also play this with maybe a friend you have who's a drummer, or maybe you're a teacher. But it's really good to play along with other people as soon as possible. And in this book, there are lots of duets scattered through the book. So this is the first one. So it's in 2/4 time. I noticed that you may have a book that doesn't have a time signature there, but it's in 2/4 time. 2 counts to a measure. And remember, our quarter note gets 1 count, a number and an and. That's our definition of a count, a number and an and. And the quarter rest also gets 1 count, only it's a count of silence. All right, so I'm going to play line 2, and I'm going to count us off by saying 1 and 2 and ready and play and, so that we can both come in together on the next beat and start the duet right at the same time. So here we go. Quarter note duet. 1 and 2 and ready and play and 1 and 2 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 and. Good. All right, so that's duet, the first duet in the book, the quarter note duet. So try playing that with me. It's a little more difficult than it looks to try to stay with another person and keep it lined up. So, if it doesn't work for you the first time, keep practicing it and you'll be able to do it over time. Now the next page is page 9, and it's where we're going to start the very, very beginning of learning a buzz roll. Now I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, and the first time I saw a drummer play a roll, I just thought that was the coolest thing I had ever seen in my life. And it's really one of the things that made me want to be a drummer. And I remember looking at that, watching that person play the drums and just thinking, how do they play this roll? I mean, they must be superhuman to be able to go that fast. So they, played something like this. And I thought, boy, that is really, I want to know how to do that. Well, then we're going to start learning the beginnings of that today. So the secret, and don't tell anybody this, but the secret to playing a buzz roll is learning how to buzz your stick just individually first, and then later, as we get better at buzzing each stick by itself, we'll eventually put those together into a roll. So if you look at page 9, under where it says the buzz, and on number 1, you see there is a simple exercise where you play 4 quarter notes single and then 4 quarter notes buzzed. And there's 2 different stickings underneath it. One, the first sticking, the top one, you do the first 2 measures with your right hand and then the second 2 measures with your left. And then second sticking there is the same exercise but alternating. Now, let's talk about how do you do a buzz? How do you get the stick to buzz? Well, there's a secret to it. This is the secret information that you don't want to tell anybody. Only drummers know this, okay? So, go back to our grip, holding the stick correctly between the pad of the thumb, the first joint of the index finger, the first joint of the middle finger with a good fulcrum, making sure you're holding the stick in the right place. On the Vic Firth Generals, they come, mine's rubbed off now, but they come with a little flag printed on it after Vic Firth, and then there's a flag there. If you put your thumb on that flag, or somewhere around that flag, that's going to be about the right balance point of the stick. So I don't know if they put the flag there on purpose or not, but I've just found that it's a good place to, if you're working on trying to find the balance point, that's going to get you pretty close. So I've got my grip, and what I'm going to do is squeeze between my thumb, index, and middle finger. Now remember, when I play a single stroke, I'm holding the stick quite loosely. But when I want it to buzz, I'm going to squeeze a little bit there, and that fulcrum, right here. Thumb, index, middle finger. And when I do that, I create a spring, which allows the stick to buzz. Now we want this buzz to sound like a buzz and not like this. Okay, you notice here, you can hear individual beats. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear just a solid buzz sound. So if you're getting individual beats like this, that means you're not squeezing hard enough. So just add a little firmness to the grip until you get the stick responding with a buzz. Okay? And then of course you want to do it with your weaker hand. You may find it more difficult at first to do it with your weaker hand, but don't be discouraged. Just hang in there. It'll get better. Remember, everybody, unless you're ambidextrous, you're trying to bring your weaker hand up to the level of your stronger hand. So your weaker hand's always a little uncoordinated compared to your other hand. Okay? So you want to just practice doing some individual buzzes. Now these exercises are just here for you to practice that. So I'm going to play line 1, and it's going to be the top sticking. So first 2 measures right hand, second 2 measures left hand. And you can see it just alternates between a loose grip and giving you a single stroke, and then a firmer grip that's going to give you a buzz stroke. So let me play number 1, top sticking. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 like I've said before, you're going to do that multiple times, okay? As many times as you can do it. Keeping an even tempo, but just keep repeating it. And if it doesn't sound great, that's okay. The only way it will sound great is by you continuing to do it. And as you do it, listen to yourself and make adjustments to your grip, the tightness or looseness of your grip, until you get that response and that sound that you're looking for. So then that's the top sticking. Here's the bottom sticking, which is going to sound the same. It's just that now I'm alternating my sticks. So here's the second sticking of number 1. 1, 2, and ready, and go. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, 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 and repeat. Okay, again, you see the repeat sign at the end of that line, so you just keep repeating it over and over again. Do it for a minute without stopping. Do it for 2 or 3 minutes without stopping. And just listen to yourself and keep adjusting your grip until you really find that grip tension that you need to get that sound. Pretty soon that will become automatic. When I pick up a pair of sticks and decide to play a buzz, I don't even think about how tight to hold the stick or anything about that. I just do it because I've done it for so many years. And it'll become automatic. So you do it without thinking. That's always the goal in all of our playing, is to get it so ingrained into our minds that we can do it without having to think about it. And that only comes through repetition. Okay, if you go down and look at number 2, it's the same idea, except that now we've condensed it a little bit. So you do 2 quarter notes single and then 2 quarter notes buzz. But the stickings, the top and bottom lines are the same as they were in number 1. So let me play number 2, top sticking. I counted off that last one in case you wanted to play along with me, but I'm just going to start right in on number 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and I'd start right over. So I keep just repeating that sticking over and over again. Then the same thing in second sticking in number 2, which is now alternating. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 then number 3 is just an etude that you can practice that just mixes them up and kind of randomly puts buzzes and single strokes all over the place, and you just have to read it. So it's a 4-line long exercise. So you start at the top of number 3 and you go all the way to the very bottom line and end there where the double bar is. I'll play that one for you too. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 4 and all right. And as it says at the bottom of the page, you are on your way to playing a buzz roll, which is a concert roll. It's another name for it. Okay, so those are exercises you can continue to practice over and over for days, maybe for a week or more until you really feel like you have that worked out. Okay, we're going to finish off by going to page 10. And we're going to learn a new note today. And that new note is called a half note. Okay, so the half note gets 2 counts. So remember what we said, a count is a number and an and. And so this note is going to get 2 numbers and ands. So a half note has the note head here is open like that, and then it has a stem that comes down. So that's the half note. Okay? And then we also have a rest, a half rest. And I'm going to draw the half rest this way with a line. This is like the staff line. And the half rest sits up here on top of it like this. Okay? So that's the half rest. All right? So those are the two new note and rest that we're going to take today. So if you look on page 10, you'll see we have two exercises there that use half notes and half rests. So that works out well. So you can see there that I've also included quarter notes in the exercises, so you don't forget those, but we're adding in half notes. So when I play a half note, I'm just going to hold it, in a sense, for two counts. 1 and 2 and. Or 3 and 4 and. Okay? So it's lasting for two counts, two numbers and ands. So let me play number 1 for you. And as you play this, just alternate your sticks at will. But don't worry that much about the sticky. Just don't play it all with one hand. Okay? So here's number 1 in 4/4 time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? Just that simple. All right, now if we jump down to number 2, we have a new time signature, or one we've talked about before, 3/4 time. So now the 3 tells us that there's 3 counts in a measure. So there won't be any 4s in this exercise. Okay? So let's try number 2 on page 10. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and. All right. And that's all we'll cover for today. You might notice that when you're counting like this out loud, there's a challenge to take a breath. You kind of run out of breath, and if you noticed, I never stopped the tempo to take a breath. I always snuck a breath in where I could, or sometimes I would, like 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and just inhale as I'm counting. And, either way works, and it keeps the tempo steady all the way through without any stops. So that's your goal. Remember, music flows right along. It doesn't stop for us to take a breath. The tempo doesn't stop. All right, great. So practice these exercises, and our next video will add yet another note, the whole note and the whole rest, to our repertoire. So be sure and subscribe if you haven't, and also like this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.